Hello everyone, good morning. I hope the 7 people that watch this are all doing well. And I know that that's not always the case, but it's largely true. I also know that if I had a job, I could promote every video I make and I would have 1 million subscribers by now. That it's just a money game. That's what it is. And, right? So this condition has it's degenerated to such a degree that I don't feel comfortable getting a job anymore. I don't feel comfortable working a job anymore. And so again, right, this channel is about discussing the nature of reality as it pertains to everything, but also specifically as it pertains to my relationship with Quentin Tarantino and the movie Critic. I don't enjoy talking about it, right? It does me no good because no one believes me, right? But there's literally like 15 people that you could ask about me, and they can either all lie about me forever, just like Quentin, or they will admit that, yes, I am in fact the reason that he canceled his film, The Movie Critic. And so it's obvious that I've come into his life to hold him accountable before the eye of God, because the things that he touches on is the divinity that shapes our ends. So he set me up to be a movie star. All I had to do was be a little intuitive, right? And I hated myself for months. I don't hate myself anymore. He's not cool. He's not cool. He abuses his power. He doesn't care about movies. He cares about power. He acquired power through the movies. Right? He's never cared about the movies. No, he cares about fucked up mind games. Like that's like what he likes. So I'm writing about it every day. I wrote a novel about it, which I should finish. I know that I need to, right? I have to. My point is that I'm taking my life back. I'm taking my mind back. He spent a year of his life trying to torture me and compel me to suicide. And so now it's just this ugly case study in remote viewing that he can and will always deny forever. So I've written a page. We're reading the writing. Right? We're discussing it. I always wake up running hot, getting more pissed off at how sick he is. It marinates a palpable conspiracy within me to turn it all on him. And if I turn it on, really turn it all on him. Stop sleeping, stop eating. He, like me, will be incapable of doing anything except meet me measure for measure in the psychic crucible. You think he can stand on stage with me remote viewing him? Blasting gunshots into his picture? Paralyzing his mind with fear as he has mine? This is why I talk about it. I can do all of these things on camera. They are not illegal. Yes, I will appear a stark raving lunatic. But will that invalidate the tactic? No, that's the point. Blind rage is a magical state of mind. Quentin touches on this power with his every breath, tee-hee-heeing every time he is coy and deceptive with the press. This is why he put his personal character traits in Charles Manson in his writing. That, if the veil is lifted, is the most damning consideration, a psychological nuance hearkening to some hideous, dangerous evil within him. My point is that our lives are, in fact, by his design, intimately connected forever. And all he can do to compel me to suicide or submission is pure evil. That's the point. To persist in this way is to say, oh, I don't mind being in a psychological state forever. I don't mind lying to everyone around me forever. I don't mind paying my subordinates to torture Brian into submission forever. Is that a life anyone would actually want? Especially through the golden years of your life. Pretty sure that's a diseased psychology you are resigning yourself to. And sure, he's fucking weird, as am I. But that's a little much, even for him, for us, for anyone. This is why I have to talk about it. He can be comfortable lying to everyone. I see that's who he has always been. But I have to be strong enough to hold him accountable for his evil. I have to be exponentially more sincere to balance what has occurred. Right? And so, what am I touching on when I say these things? Right? What I'm touching on is that the life that you, right, that you project your thoughts out into creation, right? That it's not just an abstraction, right? It's a physical electrical field, right, that you create through your synaptic firing, right? Like this is the highest expression of the brain, right? And then it goes out into creation as a thought force. A thought is a force, and philosophy should be an energy. Right? And I know I say right too much. It's a stream of consciousness. My point is that notions of clairvoyance, right? Notions of magic, notions of sorcery, notions of telepathy, notions of remote viewing is the harmonizing of your electrical condition, right? The creation of a novel electrical membrane, right? With a unique ionization pattern, so to speak, which you push out into creation, seeking a target, right, to align yourself with the subtle magnetic body with which you seek to control or manipulate, right? And so the likelihood of someone actually engendering a physical change in someone is basically zero, right? That's not how it works, right? That's the true divinity, right? It does occur. It does occur. This is how nuns heal the sick. Right? So in that way, right, though it harkens to some perversion of power, perhaps someone can just meditate on evil so much that they give someone diseases, but a more likely result is that if I call myself a practitioner, right, if I say, oh, I'm a sick sorcerer just like Quentin, right, and I set up my vision board, right, with just dangerous diagrams, hideous, ugly, evil, right, and I meditate on his suffering, right? This is what I touched on in my letter to aemanuel, that you don't have to actually engender any sort of supernatural thing to occur, and none of it is ever supernatural. It's hypernatural, right? But what you are actually doing, if the person is sensitive, right? If they're just a stubborn, ignorant ass, and they don't know anything, then they're probably none the worse off for it. But if someone is a sensitive medium type, right, then you're putting the target into a psychological state that takes them out of the necessary level of focus and attention that allows them to stay healthy in the world. Right? And so in terms of me, right, as it pertains to me, right, that if he buries me in just the sickest, most hideous evil, say when I'm driving a vehicle in the world, right, then the likelihood of me being more focused on that than the road is much higher, which will therefore increase the likelihood of me dying in a car accident. And it goes both ways, right? This is what I talked about in my letter to aemanuel, right? That I don't have to mutate the structure of your cells to cause you to die by clairvoyance, right? That I can, right, create this connection with you, however subtle it may be, right? Right? This is what Quentin does, right? He creates this connection, pulls out a revolver, him and the degenerates that are around my picture or my bust of my head, right? And they're all meditating on me, right? Boom! Blasts a fucking hole in the head of that bust, right? And that electrical condition ends up in me, right? And sends me into a kind of shock, into a kind of haze, right? Into a real condition, right? And so this was my last letter that I sent to Anastasio and David Berlinski, that's like nothing, there's nothing occurring to any of my cells necessarily, right? But it is the engendering of an electric pressure upon the structure of my brain, which can in fact engender a stroke or an aneurysm, right? And so I can do the same thing as well, right? Like anyone can do these things. This isn't, right? That it's not magic, it's science. They're the same things, right? That's like you engender a membrane of an electric field with your every thought, right? Like that's what's occurring, right? The sonic condition of a gunshot is also an electrical field, right? And so when you coagulate that electrical condition that you have in your brain of seeing me suffer, right, with, right, the condition of the gunshot, right, then boom, it hits me at the speed of light, right? almost instantaneously, right? 7 times a second, a photon of light goes around the Earth. All but immeasurable. The distance between LA and Alabama, the distance between Tel Aviv and Alabama. And so this is my point when I say, no, it's time to talk about it, right? Because if he does persist in this way, as far as the needles, right? As far as, right, and he lies to everyone. That's what he, like, I understand. We're all caught up, right? But if he persists in this way, right? Like, why shouldn't I assume that eventually it will break on through to the other side, as Jim Morrison says, right? That if he, right, that this is like, that's the point. That's the point. Like a witch, right? A witch doesn't necessarily do anything in creation but put you in a state psychologically. However, right, if their mind is strong enough, they can engender a physical change, because that's how all of life emerges out of inert space. That's the point. It's through a psychic intellectual pressure. So we have to talk about it, right? It's dangerous. It's so fucking ugly when I think about it. And to him, right, like I guess he justifies it in his mind as the ultimate spell, like it was supposed to be. And I admit I made it ugly, right? Like I made it ugly by my cowardice, right? But that's like now he's made it evil, right? Like he could have sent me a single sentence and said, "You blew it, kiss my ass." Right? And then I would have just been ashamed. I would have hated myself forever. Would have kept working. Right? And yeah, like maybe I would have kept reviewing movies in protest. But who cares? Just pay me. Right? You don't have, like, this is my point, right? Like he doesn't, like he has the right to hate me, right? He has the right to slander me to everyone in Hollywood. That's fine, right? But to engender this condition between us, right, no, that's too far. I have to talk about that. We have to bring everyone into the conversation, not only for the sake of my health, for the sake of his health. Right? That's the point. That eventually, right, one of us is going to hit our breaking point, right? And so for me, it's just going full fucking tilt, right? Like, just like I wrote, no eating, no sleeping, just pure rage on him constantly. 15 hours a day. 18 hours a day, 24 hours a day. Now, what do I have to do? I have nothing. I have nothing but my life. That's the point, right? He's been trying to take my life. So, if I do that, right, he will send someone to murder me. Right? That's a level of torture that very few people could endure. Right? And I'm one of them. And so it was subtle. Like, I'm a bull in a china shop. I have no subtlety, right? I just barrel through any room, any stage that I occupy, and swallow all the energy, right? Because I am, right, the strongest clairvoyant of the millennial generation. And I see right through to the heart of darkness immediately, right? So this is why, right? Like, this is why. Because he has, right, he has a palpable darkness in him. And this has been a test for him just as much as it has been for me. And so it was subtle, right? He's subtle, he's coy, he's cunning, right? And he played that game for a year of his life, but now we're playing my game. Now we're playing God's game. And so God, right? I want to say God doesn't ask permission, right? And so that's how he sees it, right? That he didn't want me to ask permission, right? And I wasn't. I was saying, there it is. I'll give you what you want. You take my letter now. Right? I can play the magic game too. And he balked, just like I did. Right? If he had sent me a letter, right? If he had said something to me practically, right? If that document that he shows people actually existed, he would have gotten everything that he wanted, and it wouldn't have detracted in any way. I would have been really excited and really nervous. Right? Then I was just like aloof, right? Because he didn't want to talk to me. He wanted to turn it into a fucked up mind game. And so, right? Oh, you want, like, oh, this is just an exercise in power to you. That's what this is. Right? You don't want to give me any sovereignty over my mind. So, I keep my mind. Fuck you. Right? And again, right, this has been a great test on him too, because I've been very loving and reasonable a long time, and I still am, every day, because he's obviously a sick, evil man. Right? That's why he put himself in Charles Manson. Right? Oh, gosh, so clever. As far as the saga of it all, right, it was all to make me appear insane. Is there a young girl that has feelings for me, that had feelings for me? I don't know, and I don't care. I don't regret any of that, right, because I did feel bad. I felt like, oh, no, I am supposed to play the role, and that's still objectively true, right? I am supposed to... I'm the movie critic. That's the point. Brad Pitt is Cliff Booth. Like, that's why it's the continuing adventures of Cliff Booth. And it's going to transmute into the movie critic. There's no Netflix. Like, where's the business transactions? Like, show the receipts. Right? Oh, it's just words on a page? That doesn't mean anything. Right? Where's the tax returns? Where's the tax documents? Right? So he says he cancels the film for aloof artistic reasons, when in reality he canceled it because I was reviewing movies in protest and he didn't want me to do that forever. Then when I didn't submit to his psychic will at a screening of Jackie Brown last year, he had to create this convoluted story of like Netflix and gotcha motherfucker, like, oh yeah, like you thought the feet thing was weird, like this is fucking weird. Right? One last hoorah. Right? Or he's such a goblin, right, that he gave it to David Fincher to go, no, man. No forgiveness, no recognition. And so again, my point is just as valid now as it was then. Right? Any journalist worth their salt, right, can go talk to Robert De Niro. They can go talk to Stacey Sher. They can go talk to Tom Rothman. They can go talk to Brad Pitt. That's what it is. Right? Like, you think Brad Pitt's just gonna say, well, drats. No, he's gonna say, why are you canceling the film? Like, what? Right? Like, you could tell them whatever the fuck you want, but I expect you to tell me the truth. Because you appropriated my spousal abuse. Right? So, I suppose I'll go. I've been running hot. It serves me not at all to discuss it like this, right? But I have to. There's no more, right? There's no more secrets, no more subtlety. Right? We played the subtlety game for a year. And now we're going to play it my way. Where he can be outright evil, or he can leave me the fuck alone and allow me to talk about it. So, all of life is expressing a noble divinity. The things that people refer to as clairvoyant, remote viewing, psychic, telepathy, etc., are the same things that people referred to as magic and sorcery in centuries past. The words are different, the tactics are the same. It's the hearkening to the idea that God is an abstract intellectual origin, that we experience manifestly as stillness, as the rest between heartbeats. And when you tap into that, right, heaven's face doth glow. Yea, this solidity and compound mass. Right? That you can tap into, that you can connect your individual conscious awareness to any point within creation, the center of the sun, right? An actor who refused to give you what you want. And these are all there. It's all the same thing. Right? So, when you understand that, you have a great responsibility. Right? So Quentin sees it as a joke. He sees it as a pastime. And I was flippant about it at Tribeca. I acknowledge that. Right? I was an arrogant ass. 100%. Make no qualms about that. But everything that I've done since then is to show my remorse, to show that I do respect it. And now I see that he doesn't respect it. He damn sure don't respect me at all. Right? So he's going to lie to everyone, and I'll tell the truth to everyone. So God bless. My heart's with you all. Let me know what you think.